Top 3 biggest energy savings as a household. What are the top 3 biggest energy savings you can do as a homeowner? I'll cover them in this video, and one of them might just surprise you. As a homeowner, I'm always concerned about energy savings. That's because I pay for every drop of energy I use. This leads me to want to save energy. But what are the best ways to save energy? Windows, doors, insulation? I'll cover the top 3 things each of us can do to reduce our energy usage as well as our carbon footprint. This applies whether you're a single person or a couple or a family, and it applies to everyone. Stay tuned. First, we have to take a look at what energy we use as a household. I'll be using the term household to refer to one family unit, whether you are single or a full family. In Minnesota, we have to heat our houses, so we have furnaces or a boiler or maybe a heat pump, and that provides us with warmth in the places that we live and work. This is typically done by burning natural gas. We also have to heat the water so we can have hot showers and wash clothes. This is more often than not also natural gas, and in some cases electric. There are alternative ways to heat water, and I'll have a separate video just for that. Most people also want air conditioning, so we use electricity to cool the air with a central air system or a window air conditioner or a portable air conditioner. No matter what the unit, this is a heat pump. We also want to keep foods cold with a refrigerator, and this is also a heat pump. So when going after energy savings, it's easiest to go after the largest energy items and or the most inefficient items. Although each of these items I mentioned are large users of energy in the house, there's one item that uses considerably more energy than any of the items I've already mentioned. What is that one item? The car. Most people drive one, and most likely it's powered by gas. Do you know how energy inefficient the standard gas car is? And what I mean by that is, of the energy content in gasoline, how much of it goes towards moving the car from point A to point B? I want you to take a guess. Put it in the comment below. Pause the video, whatever. No, really, take a guess. If your guess is 75%, that's too high. 60%, still too high. 40%, still too high. 30%, still too high. Let's try approximately 20%. Yes, that's right, approximately 20%. Some people will say 25%, but I'm going to use 20% in these examples. So approximately 20% of the energy in gasoline goes towards moving the vehicle from point A to point B. What happens to the other 80% of the energy? Well, it's wasted. It's given off as heat through the cooling system of the car, mostly. Yes, let me say that again. 80% of the energy in gasoline is thrown away as waste heat. That's why you can have free cabin heat in a gas car. It's already being produced in such high quantities and then thrown away. Talk about inefficiencies. And here we think an 80% furnace is inefficient. 20% gas car is extremely inefficient. Now this is true whether you get 25 miles per gallon or 15 or even 40 miles per gallon. Hybrid cars are more efficient than standard gas cars, and the reason for this is that they are capturing the kinetic energy and converting it to potential energy. Do you remember your high school physics? No? Well, here's a basic explanation. When the car is in motion, let's say at 50 miles an hour, it's got kinetic energy. Like, objects in motion tend to stay in motion. Yes, it'll tend to stay in motion all by itself. Yes, it'll slow down as wind resistance and road resistance do their part, but it will merely just coast along. If you want to stop a car, usually we step on the brake pedal. That squeezes the rotors with brake pads, which slow the car down, eventually stopping it. But if you think about it, the act of squeezing the brake rotor is really creating heat from friction. And this kinetic energy is being converted into heat through the brake system and then disposed of into the atmosphere. Hybrid cars use regenerative braking, and they switch an electric motor into a generator and convert that kinetic energy into voltage and amperage, of which charge an onboard battery. This is now potential energy, and this is why hybrid cars are more efficient. They take the act of slowing down your car and convert that into energy that can now be used to accelerate the car again, or potential energy. But the hybrid car can only recapture this already burned gasoline energy and recaptures a portion of that to re-accelerate the car. Don't get me wrong, doing this is better than not doing it at all, but they can only partially recapture the kinetic energy and only partially re-accelerate the car. What do I mean by partially? Well, there's that friction again. We can't capture all the kinetic energy and convert it to potential energy. We have drivetrain losses and energy conversion losses, but a good portion of that energy can be recaptured and reused. Now, a battery electric vehicle, or BEV for short, is all electric, no gas. This is what I drive. The battery to the motor efficiency is generally thought of to be about 90%. Could it be 85%? Sure. 95%? Maybe. Even if we take the worst case and call it 80%, that's still 4 times more efficient than a gas car. That means the battery electric car can go 4 times further on the same amount of energy. So let's do a quick comparison. My car holds about 90 kilowatt hours of battery power. A gallon of gas contains about 33.6 kilowatt hours of energy. So my car holds the equivalent of 2.7 gallons of gas, yet my car is rated for 249 miles. So that's the equivalent of 93 miles per gallon. That's an SUV that can seat 6 or 7, and the most equivalent to this is the Toyota Highlander. So let's compare the Highlander with my Model X. The Highlander seats 7 or 8, depending on configuration. The Model X seats 5, 6, or 7, depending on its configuration. And the trunk of the Highlander is 16 cubic feet with all the seats up in the upright position, versus the Model X at 12.6 cubic feet, but you got to add in the front trunk at 6.6 for a total of 19.2 cubic feet. So my Model X has actually got more storage capacity with the seats up than the Highlander. With the seats folded down, the Highlander has 84 cubic feet versus the Model X at 88 cubic feet. The dimensions, the Highlander is 197 by 76 by 68. Model X, 198 by 79 by 66. So I would say that they're relatively similar in size and capacity. But in terms of fuel economy, it's a totally different story. The Highlander all-wheel drive is 20 miles per gallon in the city and 27 on the highway with an overall combined rating of 23 miles per gallon. If you step the Highlander up to the hybrid version, it's 35, 35, 35. Now, what is a Model X? Well, the EPA created an MPGe equivalent for an electric car called the MPGe. This takes into account that a gallon of gas, as I already mentioned, has 33.6 kilowatt hours of energy. So an electric car has an MPGe rating in order to compare that electric car to a gas car. Now, comparing the Highlander to the Model X, remember the Highlander is either 20, 27, 23, or 35, 35, 35. Model X is 109, 101, and 105 MPGe combined. That's 4.5 times more efficient than the gas version and 3 times more efficient than the hybrid version. So going back to houses, I know people want to change furnaces to go from 80 to 95% efficiencies, and that's a 19% gain. And I know people want to change windows, and windows are super expensive at about $1,500 per window today. And I know that people also want to change AC units from 13 SEER to 17 SEER. Forget about those items until you've changed your car to electric. That's going from 20% to 80%. That's a 300% gain in efficiency. Do this first. With a 300% gain in efficiency, this qualifies for all of the top 3 energy savings of a household. This one change will outdo changing the furnace and the windows and the air conditioner. And here's how that breaks down. The average annual energy consumption in the US is 10,600 kilowatt hours of electricity, 29,000 kilowatt hours of natural gas, and about 37,700 kilowatt hours of gasoline for about 28,000 miles. 37,700 kilowatt hours per year of gasoline. That's more than it takes to heat the house. If we total those numbers up, combined, it's approximately 77,000 kilowatt hours of energy. So 37,000 out of 77,000 means a car uses about 49% of the household energy usage. So if you change from a furnace from 80% to 95%, you'll save about 5,700 kilowatt hours of energy per year. If you change your AC from 13 SEER to 17 SEER, you'll save 250 kilowatt hours of energy per year. If you change all 28,000 miles of driving in gas cars to electric cars, you'd be saving about 30,000 kilowatt hours of energy, or about the same as changing 5 furnaces from 80% to 95% and 5 air conditioners from 13 SEER to 17 SEER. Plus, you can change the electricity source to renewable energy, such as wind or solar, as I have done. These 18 panels you see in my garage generate enough electricity to allow me to drive 20,000 miles on the sun. I only drive 18,000 miles, so some of the excess goes towards my household electrical usage, but I generate all the energy for all my driving needs from the sun. Think about that for a minute. Bottom line is, I suggest changing gas vehicles for electric vehicles first, and then consider changing more efficient heating and cooling methods. And if you're replacing an air conditioner, change it to a heat pump model. It's just a little more expensive, but it's well worth it. Watch for a separate video for more information about that. If you have questions about these energy efficiencies, please comment below. And if you're planning to move in the Twin Cities, give me a call. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.